One of those was the phasing that we had. We were talking earlier about posting phases. And, Jam Jung, irregardless if you're doing it through the Tai Chi phases, using Tai Chi postures, eventually your body, uh, the old writings would talk about different things like the three lines. Uh, in that case, basically, that's why the simplest of all the postures is here, where the lines are, you have the shoulder and the hips and the knees, and then the knees and the ankles. And as long as those three lines are straight, it's actually pretty easy to hold yourself up. Once you bend the knees a little bit and add a little tilt or extend the arms, all those lines change. Okay. And that creates work. But the main thing for this evening, as a reminder for you to encourage you, is that they would talk about the three movements. And that's one of the hard things about the Chinese. Sifu would use different words and phrases, but when you try to understand it, they would talk about three movements. And the movement in English when someone translates it into English and they say, well, here's the argument, you're standing there and your mind's going, well, we're not doing anything. Okay. Well, one of the things that we often learn is that, well, if you weren't doing anything, you should be able to do it all damn day. All right. That's the counter argument. You can sit on your ass all day long and watch TV. That's doing nothing. Right. But when you're standing there and your mind starts looking for a little escape routes, one of the things it'll come up with is, I got so much to do and I'm just standing here. You're doing a lot more than that. All right. Most of us think about, as we grow up in this culture, as movement as being exercise. You see people jogging, doing jumping jacks, pull-ups, whatever, right? You see physical movement. But when you stop and you hold your body still, you actually speed up internal movement. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, your temperature will go up. The exchange of oxygen between your blood and your lungs will go up. Okay, your overall muscular and fascial dilation will open up. There's movement that you can't see, but because you can't see it, your mind's going, yeah, but I'm not doing anything. There's so much happening on the inside. And then eventually you'll get to the third movement, which is the movement of your mind, where the mind will surrender. It'll go through training. It'll learn to calm down instead of trying to find a way out. And then it will, as we know today, it actually does move. It changes its shape through plasticity. Okay. So whenever you're going through your posting, for example, one of the reasons that people don't do it is a lot easier just to do the same old crap every day and never change. But when you get still and you take a different approach to it, everything starts to change. You just can't see it, but you can feel it, right? You can feel discomfort. You can feel pain. You can feel whatever it is that you've been carrying around for the past 10 years. All of a sudden, it's all there for you to deal with. Okay. So try as much as you can to remind yourself. This is what I used to say when my body was screaming and complaining. And as Bruce Eads like to say, and we're living in a no pity zone, right? It's like, okay, look, I hear you. I know you're not comfortable. Right. And I was talking to my shoulder or a knee. Like, I know you're not comfortable, but it's okay. We're not hurting you. I know you're not comfortable, but there's a difference between injury and pain. And we're not injuring ourselves. The only pain I'm feeling is my ego for complaining so much. So anyway, as we're going through it some tonight, I'm going to do a couple of exercises with you to help you with your Tai Chi Chuan. And Bader has been doing a lot more aggressively or assertively digging into the Tai Chi posting a lot more. We usually do it as a little spot. Usually most of y'all been doing it as a little spot check, right? Like a little, like holding it for 5 breaths during a fire set. Okay. But as you dig into it, as Bader will tell you, it gets pretty tough, don't it? I'm going to have cramps tonight, right? Well, no pity. All right. So anyway, before we get moving, are there any questions online about posting and the 3 movements? All right. The first movement is the movement of the physical body, changing its shape. When you change its shape, you're now working, right? If you just stood like this all day, that's not as hard as here, right? Or here, or any of the postures. As soon as your body changes shape, and that doesn't matter if you, like I said, if you're just doing running, as soon as you start to run or walk, you're changing the shape of the body. But when you change the shape of the body into something else, that's the first physical movement. Then the second is the movement of the internals, is what I would refer to it, right? The temperature going up, the vasodilation of the vessels, the oxygen exchange ratios inside the lungs, and things like that. All of those things are internal movements that increase as soon as you start. It's one of the few times in my life I ever experienced like being in, I know Ryan has done it. I don't know if Bader probably has, but when you're outside and it's 18, 19 degrees and you're standing there and everybody else is shivering, right? And they're walking their dogs and things like that. And you're standing there doing your posting and the sweat's running down your back, right? And then you know that there's something else. And the third internal is the movement of the mind. And so what we want to do first is let's just start right in here in a good horse stance. And Ryan, one of the things I've noticed is that sometimes when I rewatch the videos, you're off of the screen. So if you don't mind, get in here a little tighter, right? And I'll make room. I won't hog up the center of the camera. Yeah, right. That girlish figure. Yeah. All right, Bader, I want you to whoop his ass when we're done. All right, so let's just start with about just a minute or two right here in a resting posture. And even in the resting posture here, I like for you to be attentive to your feet to start with. And there's phases, particularly with the feet, that you can work through. They have what they call the point of accumulation and the point of release. But when you're here in this posture, what you'd like to try to do is make sure that your feet feel like they're spread out across the earth evenly. And then you bend your knees a notch. Check that tailbone to make sure that it's not tucked under or protruding out, that it feels like it's pointing straight down to between your heels. And when you're up in front, and this is, you know, what they call Wu Chi 1, or the resting, it's actually one step above rest. But you'd like to have a fluffiness under your arms so that they don't feel collapsed. You'd like to have the chest rounded out a little bit, concaved. Now, there's a few things here that we can do. Actually, I'm going to let Ryan demonstrate, even though I don't think he's done this with me before. And his mind will catch right up to it as we're doing it. All right, so even though this is a resting posture, there's a lot of things that we can do from right here. And one of them is to start with, and what I'd like for you to do is by staying still right here, I'd like for you to think about your right thigh And I like for you to squeeze it and then relax it. The thigh is the whole thing. Yep. Yep. Or whatever your mind can get a hold of. Just squeeze it like a pulse and then let it relax. Very good. Staying right there. Now the left side. Very good. And relax a little bit. Now we're going to do them both together. Good. And check your body, scan through it a little bit. Now, one last exercise here with the legs. This time you're going to alternate right, left, right, left, right, left. Take a little breath. I'd like for you to just stand up for a moment, okay, because we're going to go back into some of that work before we go any further. All right. What kind of observations? What did you think about that exercise? Was any of the exercises tougher than the other? Left one side was harder for you? Okay. Recruitment issues? Yeah. How much? Okay. Yeah, everything. It was like you find out you got one leg. Ugh, ugh. What about for you? Back and forth alternating. How about for you? Okay, so that's a segue there. All right. So usually when you first start, what will happen is that Ryan was saying that he was playing with the frequency of how fast he could flare it. Bob was talking about how he had a recruitment problem where he was thinking of the thigh, and all of a sudden your rear end and your calves and everything else is going. And Kathy said that the alternating was the toughest. One of the things that will happen is that's usually normal. The alternating is probably the toughest of the group. And then also the frequency. One of the things will happen is that when you start, you can usually build up to where about 50 to 60 contractions in a minute is not that much of a problem. Okay. But you have to build up to that. Then 100 in 2 minutes, 100 to 120, 25. So when you're sitting there and you're going, bam, 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 bam. Now we're talking about what part of the movements are we talking about? Mostly what are you working on mostly? The internal or external movement? Which one do you think? It's it's going to be it's going to have some external value, but the real work is internal, right? It's your ability for your mind to find that neurology and get it to fire. Okay. So now how does that transpire? Well, everything you do in the Tai Chi and the Kung Fu is built on your ability to reshape your body and your ability to say, okay, left knee, pull the left knee, pull the left knee, till eventually you don't have to do that. The body will instinctively know, pull it to change that shape. Okay. So what we're going to do now is let's go through and let's get into a single whip posture. We're going to face this way, right? Now, Kathy, I'm going to kind of retract something I said earlier. If you would like after tonight to start and do all of your posting and Tai Chi posting, it'll help you Tai Chi. Karen, the same thing for you. And it will also help you with some of the questions and other things you've been talking about, because you're not letting go of your posting will just give you the option to change what you're working on some, okay? And it will help, right? So here we are in a single whip posture. And in this posture, most of the time, most of us just, we get into the posture and we look like a stone, right? It's like somebody carved you into single whip. But that's not supposed to be it. If you do that, then you're having the physical shape change, but you're not having the internal movement. You're not moving with purpose. And one of the ways that you can kind of skate your way through posting is take away the purpose. So if you're just standing here, that's a lot easier than to stand there with purpose. Would you agree with that, Ryan? Yeah. All right. But no pity tonight. So we're going to practice with purpose. Right. So what you want to do here is imagine in that left leg, your back leg, your rear leg, whether that's your left or right, that you are pushing into the earth and contracting just enough so that you feel like you're launching yourself just a little. But the body barely moves. That's where you try to keep the external minimalized and work on the internal. Push into the earth like you're pushing yourself forward. 6, 7. $32, $33, $34, $35, $36. Good. From the same posture, I want you to contract as if you're pushing back, like you're sitting back into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your pace may be slower than mine. That's okay. You just do what you can. I'll let you know when I'm finished. Good. Let it come down to your resting posture. How'd that feel? Feel like you're working? All right. All right. Let's get the other side set up. Now, one of the things I hope you noticed there is I did not give you much instruction about the upper body. Okay. Because as most of you all have learned, when you're learning Kung Fu in the beginning, particularly, most of the errors you're going to make is from the belly button down. So to prioritize your practice, just try to get the arms in the right place. Don't worry about the purpose of the upper body, but really start concerning yourself with the alignment and the purpose of the lower body, and that will solve a bunch of problems. Okay, so if you have your feet in the right alignment and you're looking in the right direction, all right, let's push forward in the rear leg. Good. Check your alignments. Now push with the rear leg, left leg. Is anybody else sweating? All right, bring it back down to neutral. We're going to go into one other little posture here, a little blend. Push the sky, let the hands float up. Okay. Now we're not just going to be in the posture, we're going to do it for a little purpose. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is to imagine that your heels, as you push in, your heels push into the earth. And you can feel the force as if you were getting ready to jump, going through your body, up your spine, and then pushing up and out with the palms. Just let the force, just observe it. Don't try to force it. Just let it push up through the legs, come together in the spine, up, up and out. 7, 8. All right. Let it come back down. What's one of the other postures that you're doing now, Bader? Parting horse's mane? Okay. All right. So we'll do that one just as well. I know I said one more, but that's okay. It's the Tai Chi one. That's right. All right. Let's slide out here to a side. Okay. Try to get your upper body in the right alignments. Okay. And always take your time with that. Check, physically check, and then trust yourself. Okay. And what we're going to do now is we'll add one of the other exercises. What we'll do is double thigh or double squeeze. And so it's going to feel like your body's doing boom, boom, like so. And you squeeze all through the groin, all through there will activate usually. Your heel yin will usually lift up just underneath the groin there. Well, let's sit back, hold the baby. Take it off to this side. Get your alignments right. We'll do the same exercise, squeezing both thighs up and through the groin, getting all that activated for a moment, and then relaxed. Couple more. Good. Now let's draw it in. Find your balance. Imagine your body is like a hollow glass statue almost. They are just circulating freely throughout your body, no tension being held on to. When you breathe in, the air floats all the way down to your little toe, to your little fingers, and the pressure is the same all throughout your body. Bring the fingertips up to your heart. Take just a few moments and just fill yourself with being grateful. Like a light that's so bright and fills you up. There's no room for fear. There's no room for confrontation. There's no room for sadness or sickness. And when you can fill yourself with gratefulness, for example, that's the fourth movement of the spirit. Open your palms out into the world and finish a good night's practice. Oh, wow. Yeah, right. Yeah, ditch. That's good.